I will be analyzing DNA by Kendrick Lamar. First off, just a quick overview for those who aren't already familiar with the song. DNA is Lamar's version of a braggadocio rap, which is where an artist boasts about his personal attributes, particularly his sexual prowess, wealth, and toughness. It is a reaction to an insult from Fox News that was featured at the end of the song titled Blood. Throughout the song, Lamar is stating he is superior to those who didn't grow up in Compton or places with similar gang violence, and he often references childhood experience in his current wealth. Through listening to the song and reading the lyrics, I noticed that Lamar's diction and repeated use of the word you suggests that he is addressing a particular person or group of similar people. I believe his intended audience is either his critics, because he frequently references his wealth and success, or his audience is people who are not from Compton and just generally have not experienced gang violence, because he often references traumatic events from his childhood. A specific quote that suggests he is addressing someone with different experiences than him is, "Shit I've been through probably offend you." The sequence of the songs in the album is what suggests that he is replying to the critics. DNA is the second song in the album, and at the end of Blood, the first song in the album, a clip from a Fox News episode plays. One can hear co-host Eric Bolling say that, quote, Lamar stated his opinion on police brutality with the line, "And we hate the po-po, wanna kill us for show," end quote. And co-host Kimberly Guilfoyle replies with, quote, "Oh please, I don't like it," end quote. In an interview, Lamar says, quote, "Know who I am first, understand where I come from before you make any remarks," end quote. I believe he is using DNA as a platform to explain to his critics and fans what he has gone through, then also proving just how great he thinks he is by detailing the wealth and success he has accumulated despite his rough start. No matter what he has now, Lamar stays, quote, loyal to his upbringing in Compton and never bashes it. In fact, he states he had a, quote, immaculate conception, end quote, which is used as an allusion which likens him and his youth to the conception of Jesus from the Virgin Mary. There are 3 global issues that I noticed within DNA. The first global issue is gang violence and crime, which can be seen in many forms across the globe. Seeing that the theme of the song is who Lamar is as a person, it makes sense that gang violence is the majority of the lyrics, because DNA makes you who you are as a person, and Lamar uses DNA as a metaphor for the gang violence he experienced as a child. Some of the many references can be seen in the lines, "I've known murder, conviction, burners, boosters, burglars, ballers, dead, redemption, scholars, fathers dead with kids." And these same tendencies can be seen within Lamar with the line, "I don't contemplate, then off your fucking head." The second global issue is also from Lamar's childhood. It is the issue of homelessness. It is a very minor part of the message, but nevertheless it can be seen in the line, "When I was 9 on some motel, we didn't have nowhere to stay." The third and final global issue is a mental state of being, which is insecurity and a fragile self-image. While the tone of the song is fairly cocky on Lamar's part, an antithesis is formed because the whole song is an overreaction to some criticism. Regardless of the fact if the criticism was misguided or not, it shows that Lamar has a fragile self-image because he can't take criticism. He overcompensates for his insecurity, which creates the braggy tone for the song. This overcompensation can be seen throughout the entirety of the song, starting with his wealth, which he brags about in the lines, quote, "Diamond on the ceiling, marble on the floors, beach inside the window," unquote, and in the lines, quote, "I got millions," unquote. Secondly is his musical success, which he boasts with the lines, quote, "Sippin' from a Grammy," unquote. Third, he boasts about his character, most prominently by likening himself to Jesus. Remembering that DNA is a metaphor for his childhood, the final brag is about his upbringing, which can be seen in the line, quote, "Got royalty inside my DNA," and quote, "My DNA for imitation," which suggests that others wish they had the childhood he did. And if bragging wasn't enough, Lamar bashes his critics with the lines, quote, "Your DNA an abomination," end quote, quote, "Use a bitch," end quote, quote, backbone don't exist, end quote, which is suggesting that his critics are cowardly. And finally, quote, your hormones probably switched, end quote, which is suggesting that the critics are more of a female than male, or vice versa. While the lyrics of Lamar's unfortunate childhood may seem contradictory to the boasts and brags about his current life, I believe the two fit together just like a puzzle to create his overall message, which is a religious testimony of God's redemption. Lamar has referenced his religion in many other songs and how it saved him, so this makes sense. Despite his, quote, evil that rot inside, end quote, and potential past crimes that he, quote, got off with, suggests that he would be in jail or be a bad person, Lamar says he is, quote, Yeshua's new weapon, end quote, which is saying he is a new tool for God. The fact that Lamar was able to escape gang life and build a very successful life that one can assume is morally sound is definitely a story of redemption, and Lamar credits it all to God. This brings in a nature versus nurture component. Nature being his DNA from Compton and nurture being his heritage from Mecca or Nazareth. Both Mecca and Nazareth are holy cities, and heritage is referencing being a child of God instead of biological heritage. Because Lamar has chosen to follow God and share his religion through his music, he says he is now living a life of, quote, money and power, end quote, instead of, quote, sex, money, murder, end quote, which is what he would have had with his old life. Obviously, murder is bad, and seeing that this is a religious message, sex would also be bad. But by saying money and power is the, quote, Mecca of marriages, end quote, one can assume that they are two holy and good things. In short, Lamar is crediting all the good things in his life to God. Thank you. That's all. And here's my works cited.